Stan, maybe you can start by telling me why you're involved with this.
Sure. We fell in love with Paradise Valley when we first discovered it many years ago. We now own a home in Paradise Valley in addition to a business here in Montana. And when we first learned about the proposed gold mines, we were quite surprised and immediately became involved in opposing their moving forward.
So how is today's step unique or different from what you've been doing before? You've had this ongoing effort to try to get a permanent injunction, shall we say, or a permanent law that will ban the mining. How's today different? What's new?
Today marks the one-year anniversary of the temporary mineral withdrawal that was announced last year by the prior Secretary of the Interior, Sally Jewell. And the key word there is temporary. And now we are working with our congressional delegation to hopefully put forth legislation this year that provides permanent protection for Yellowstone and the Gateway communities.
And what has been the reaction by the congressional delegation here, senators and Congressman Gianforte, to your call? Have you reached out to them today?
Not today, but we've been very encouraged by their comments. They've all been unified in their opposition and in their statements that clearly acknowledge that Paradise Valley and the Yellowstone Gateway is not an appropriate place for gold mines. And now we're just asking them to unite in a bipartisan fashion to push through permanent legislation this year.
Seems like a tall order, especially with the first tax bill in, what, 28 years on the table. Do you think it's realistic to ask for that?
You know, Montana's fortunate. We have a very strong congressional delegation, and we're confident that if they work together in a strong bipartisan way, that they can actually move this legislation through and it can get passed either on its own or perhaps being attached to some other must-pass legislation.
No, this doesn't really affect other states directly. Perhaps Wyoming is close, but this is a Montana issue. How do we sell other states, other congressional leaders on this?
This is being driven by the local communities and the Gateway communities of the Yellowstone National Park. There's over 400 businesses that have signed on to the Yellowstone Gateway Business Coalition that represent folks from all walks of life, from both sides of the political spectrum. And we are united in that we feel very strongly that gold mines around Yellowstone are not appropriate. So I think the thing that perhaps differentiates this is this has overwhelming local support from the folks that have businesses in their homes and are raising their children here, and that we want to maintain our quality of life for our future generations.
It's kind of interesting. Can you contrast that with Utah, for instance, and Bears Ears or Grand Staircase Escalante, where the locals are opposed to what some of the national organizations are calling for?
Again, I would say, you know, we're fortunate in Montana to have a congressional delegation that has listened to us. And we are pleased that they have come out with their comments that are that acknowledge that the Yellowstone National Park and the Gateway communities are no place for a gold mine. And now we're just trying to work with them so that they can actually put this issue to rest and pass permanent legislation so that our children don't have to be inheriting this problem in the future.
If it doesn't get done by the first of the year, what's your next step?
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. To be honest, all of our energy right now is focused on getting this legislation passed this year. We feel like we have a great opportunity to get this legislation passed before the end of the year. The window is shrinking, however. We're down to, I think, less than 30 days of days in the legislature to get this done. And the risk is growing day by day as the foreign mining company is making plans to start drilling exploratory holes in the summer. So right now, all of our energy is focused on getting this permanent legislation passed this year.
All right. Thank you.